And thank you very much. Wow, Vedius shook after he predicted SK yesterday. He is all in on the Excel bandwagon. I like it, and I like to see it, and I think you do as well, Froskurinn. You've been an Excel advocate over the course of the split, having a lot of faith in their development.
I feel like if Rogue was kind of the forgotten first place team, Excel were kind of like the forgotten playoff team. Because again, this idea that they had a really rough strength of schedule, they came in, they got blasted in the first few weeks, and people just kind of signed them off and forgot about them. But slowly but steadily, the only team in kind of that bottom half that they've lost to is Misfits. So again, a win here could mean that they hold the head-to-head to SK and Vitality in the same weekend. That said, Excel have never made playoffs. They're the only team in the LEC to never do so, and they got to this moment last split and crumbled under the pressure. So while they're within touching distance of potentially setting themselves up for a very strong playoff run, it could all fall apart here.
Absolutely, and today we're going to be talking a lot about pressure, especially as both these teams are currently sitting at 5 and 7. Yes, they can't have a 2-0 week, but they are still one step behind the vast majority of the teams fighting to secure those playoff positions. So all eyes are on these lineups to find a way to climb back into that playoffs race.
And I want to start where Duke kind of held off in that interview, talking about the top side of the map. That Excel are a top side team, especially with Kryze's limited champion pool, looking for more of those AD carries. Because if anyone's really going to put him down and had a phenomenal weekend, it's Cabochard on picks like his Scion. Cabochard can really punish this guy up into the top side of the map, and I think that's the strategy that we're going to see.
And the thing that I love about the development of Cabochard, especially on this new lineup, is that for a long time when Vitality was struggling, they defaulted back to making it the Cabochard show. But right now, with this Vitality lineup, it feels like it can be the Cabochard show, even when he's playing a tank like Scion, and that's such a big deal for this team.
I think it also helps that Comp and Labrov are a much stronger bot lane than Vitality have had in the past, and Milica, especially on the Azir, which you can already see the respect that Excel are giving with the Ori and the Azir bans, has also showed up as a pretty strong carry. Now, that said, the champion pools are a little bit narrow, and I am kind of concerned of what Milica is going to grab. Kind of the craziest out of the wheel box he's gone for is something like the Jace, but usually I would expect either a Jace or a Corki, especially to go with this Ezreal priority pick.
And Team Vitality, of course, while Excel were pinching out the mid lane pool, they've set their bans on the bot lane. Both the Sett and the Kalista taken off the board, but that does open up the Aphelios response for Patrik. So if we get into those late game teamfight scenarios, we know exactly how effective Patrik can be and exactly how effective Aphelios can be. But the trade is giving up Ezreal over to a Comp, a champion he has been very good at in the past.
And there's Skeanz on one of his signature Lee Sin picks. Just to echo the desk there, I think they hit the nail on the head. When you look at NG's champion pool, it was a lot of the Skarners, the Jarvans, these champions that weren't really in meta right now. Lee Sin, while love him or hate him, I know there's a lot of conversation about him, he's at least in the conversation of in the meta, especially with a guy like Shadow, and I'm happy to see Skeanz return to the LEC, getting some of his confidence back and putting him on a big confidence pick like Lee Sin.
And so good that you highlight that Lee Sin is that confidence pick, because this is a pick that we've seen from 0 to 100 in level of execution. You've seen the Shadow moments where you turn around a game in an instant. We've seen the games where Lee Sin can do absolutely nothing. So Skeanz really has to show up as an individual performer today.
In this type of composition though, just with the first 3 champions shown from either side, I don't mind the Lee Sin here. Obviously, it's not like the same powerhouse as if you had a LeBlanc Lee Sin combo for the 2v2, but in terms of just disengaging Sett, I still think that Lee Sin, even late game, even after he falls off of being able to execute someone unless he gets super snowballed, he can at least give Caedrel a really hard time in trying to get access to that backline. Because one of the issues that I see with Excel's comp is that they're relatively short range, if that makes sense. Aphelios has really been struggling unless he has his green sniper rifle to get up into people's faces. And with Zoe and Ezreal, Team Vitality already outrange Excel's comp.
That said, of course, yesterday we have seen the Zoe into LeBlanc matchup. Special is no stranger to it, so maybe Special can have a similar performance to what he did yesterday, where he was able to find his way into the backline to find these snipe kills to eliminate the AD carry. But the difference between today and yesterday is that it's an Ezreal that he is playing up against, so much harder to do so.
I'm going to be really frank. Usually, and frankly, in majority of our LEC teams, even if you think you know how something's going to work or how something should be executed, we're seeing a lot of blunders. And frankly, it's going to be who's going to mess up less and who's going to take the win here. So we kind of talked about how these compositions might theoretically work together, but I'm not sold on anything being 100% because I feel like at this level, sometimes a player discrepancy is all you really need.
And my concern as we enter the second pick phase, Froskurinn, is the Thresh pick that surely Team Vitality are debating banning, because Thresh mitigates so many of the options to counter and shut down Aphelios. As we get Patrik teasing us a little bit here, but just having that Lantern limits a lot of the conventional counter options to this champion mid to late game. That said, I would love a Pantheon Aphelios. That would be hyper-aggressive, but I think the Thresh is just the safe pick here.
I think that's because Labrov feels pretty confident that he can go for the Nautilus. It is often an answer into the Thresh.
Ooh, that said, we've got a very comfortable, very safe bot lane for Excel that still allows Torre to be a playmaker, that still allows Patrik to set up a lot of plays like he would with Ashe when it comes to the Gravitum Aphelios ult. So I feel like Excel are, while it is short range, as you mentioned earlier, I think they're getting a lot of things that they would love to get their hands on.
But they're still missing some really credible hard engage. You know, something like an Ornn would be great for them, but it's not necessarily in Kryze's wheelhouse. So that's kind of one of the concerns that I have with this type of composition. And Labrov not going for the Nautilus into the Thresh, instead looking for that Leona. Again, it's a relatively low mobility ADC in that Aphelios that was sitting back there. And if Labrov's on point with Leona, can cause a ton of problems for him.
Yeah, really mitigate a lot of the impact that champion wants to bring to the table. Of course, being able to flay out the Zenith Blade makes it a lot harder to set up the ideal lockdown. But now the Urgot coming in as well. The Cabochard Classic. This is a champion we've seen him carry so many games on, taking a step away from something like the Scion in this matchup topside. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Kryze is a player that, outside of his matchups versus Gen X, has generally struggled in the lane phase.
Yeah, curious kind of what it's going to be. That would be a Kryze special as well. So, okay, at least there's kind of some 1-4 or 1-3-1, depending on how Fed special gets on this LeBlanc. Potential here out of Excel's composition. And that is also the hard engage that they really needed. Again, it's not in Kryze's wheelhouse to grab something like an Ornn, but Camille will certainly foot the bill.
And not a lot of potential now to potentially split push when you have a LeBlanc as well as a Camille, but may be difficult to do so given the hard engage options present on the side of Team Vitality between the Leona and Lee Sin. That said, very interesting drafts, I think is how I'm going to describe it. I like a lot of what Excel are bringing to the table. Feels like a lot of individual comfort picks with a strong core for Patrik. And on the opposite side for Vitality, anytime Cabochard gets to play Urgot, I feel like it's going to be a good game.
And while Cabo is one of our better Urgot players in the league, I do want to quickly point out Milica on this Zoe. I think he's really showing the power of the champion. So you talk about the comfort picks on the side of Excel. I think Vitality kind of got the same thing. And again, just to reiterate, even though this is a bottom of the table matchup, this is make or break for both these teams in their playoff runs.
Two teams tied at 5 and 7, looking to move up to 6 and 7, looking to find that 2-0 week here in the LEC. Pressure continues to mount as we get closer and closer. Week 8, 3 days of games back-to-back. The make or break timing. Any wins you can get now will make your life so much easier as we head into the final weeks here in the LEC.
So our producer was just explaining to us, just let it happen. Just let the silence soak into the moment. And I feel like that's kind of been the story of the LEC this split. Just let it happen.
Well, also, just like take a deep breath. Because as we mentioned before, we're going to be talking about this a lot today, but the pressure is on. And now we've heard already from the side of Vitality, pressure's on for Skeanz. He's comfortable now. We're going to have to see how he performs. But on the opposite side, I do want to talk about Excel, because this is a team that, while we've never been like, wow, Excel is bad, we've never been like, wow, Excel is great. And I feel like part of the reason is they're just not a team that's ever made playoffs. And that's something that's going to get counted against them if they once again fail to do so this time around.
It's the fact that they always get so close within touching distance and then everything goes wrong. They have these mad playoff sprints or these crunch moments and they just utterly collapse. And the thing is that Excel are the only team to not make playoffs in our league, and so maybe that's why their name is constantly forgotten when this conversation comes up, but they have been relatively consistent of beating the bottom tier teams. Again, the only bottom tier team that they've lost to is Misfits. If they win here, they'll hold the head-to-head to Vitality and SK in the exact same weekend. So Excel, again, within touching distance of finally making a playoff berth.
And the whole team has to know it. And Youngbuck has set the team up for comfort here. We've seen Kryze really have excellent performances you know, on some of these more solo side lane split push oriented champions. And special, no doubt the LeBlanc is a comfort pick. There were triple bans into the mid lane just to make sure that this man could be comfortable. So while the pressure is on, they definitely have things that they have been successful on in the past. But on the opposite side, I think inevitably, I kind of want to talk about mid lane right now because you're talking about Milica on this Zoe. I know this early lane phase is going to be too exciting, but Milica has been kind of an absolute terror as we get into mid and late game fights. And have to see what he can do on this champion.
Yeah, I think unfortunately guys like Milica and Zazie have flown under the radar a little bit in some of the conversation just because Larson and Humanoid are having such pop-off performances, and then the rest of the discussion is being dominated by bench Nemesis and Nuke Duck's disappointing us. Like, sorry Reddit. That was an inappropriate voice. I'll work on that one.
It's fine.
But Milica and Zazie have, you know, strong. Came in, I think, comparatively to guys like Abadage, they're already sitting above him. But as I point that out, you really want to gank Zoe early so you can burn an early flash and really have kill pressure on her. It's pretty important to do so, kind of like when you're facing an Azir to get the early flash, just because she'll have perma push wave clear at around level 5.
It's also really difficult because if she has her flash, it's that much easier for her to flash and pick up any summoner spells that are dropped in the process of ganking her. And if Zoe picks up 3 or 4 summoner spells, you're probably not winning that exchange, just as a general rule. For now, though, pretty calm early game. LeBlanc pressuring here. You know, a few more levels of Lost Chapter is always going to be able to one-shot this wave and feel more comfortable in the matchup, but special early on, especially packing the Ignite, has the Electrocute as well. It's just better set up to win out on some of these early duels. And just across the board, it's a pretty controlled, calm early game. I think back to looking at Skeanz, if I'm honest, because this is the Lee Sin. This is a champion that can have a big impact. He does have solid setup across the lanes in terms of Urgot has decent ways to get fights kicked off. Not the best. Zoe has the trouble bubble. You've also got the Leona on the bottom side. So there are options for Skeanz to try and pull off a game.
And I really feel for Skeanz. I think that he just got shattered in spring. Coming in and that Vitality roster just absolutely got bodied. And Skeanz, I think, took a lot of the blame or kind of like the hardship going back into the LFL to kind of build this player back up, try to figure out what was wrong with Vitality by bringing in NG and getting a stable shot caller. So I'm curious to see kind of how the shot calling responsibilities will translate if with Skeanz, maybe this Vitality roster has the confidence that other voices are stepping up, or maybe they'll still look a little bit lost when it comes to team fights or macro decision making. But I feel like, again, Skeanz's champion pool is much more effective than NG's champion pool on the current patch and meta. And Skeanz has been a talked-up jungler for a long time from the LFL, so I just want to see him get a shot and actually really showcase himself without just trying to carry the sin of the former Vitality roster.
And we have to remember for that Vitality roster that they couldn't get the roster that they wanted. They couldn't get Milica to play for the starting lineup, so they had to make so many swaps back and forth. They couldn't figure out the support or the bot lane situation. It really was a difficult split. Similar story for Excel, who have now swapped their solo lanes, and these are two teams that are trying to essentially rebuild in Summer Split in
while making a playoff race.
While making a playoff race in one of the most contentious splits we've ever had, just in terms of standings, just in terms of it's an 8-week schedule. It's very tight, so overall, difficult task for both these lineups. They've done admirably, 5 and 7, definitely not the worst score, staying at least close to most of these teams. We see an aggressive trade here on top side. That press the attack damage is gross coming in from the Urgot.
Yeah, fun things from Urgot. I do want to point out quickly those Skeanz invested a ton of time actually sitting in that mid lane brush underneath Milica, as there's a Torre gank. Nice Lantern.
Lantern setup is good. Flash over the wall, excellent from Labrov. Now pulled back, he's going to have flash to safety, but ooh, is he just going to go down? Ticking. One more on. I was going to do it. Patrik going to get out of that one. Gets the QSS just in time, and now Labrov is given his life as well. The double kill for Patrik. That is an ideal start for any team in the LEC.
And the cleanse was so clutch there from Patrik. That was, you know, just a fraction of a hair out of the tower damage to trade 1 for 1. But in the end, a nice pickup for Excel, and the fact that Patrik is now sitting with 2 kills in his back pocket on the Aphelios is going to be huge for this lane phase. Take another look at it. I think Torre, why he didn't get the flay on the flash is he was trying to find the right... Oh, no, it was the stun. Okay. I was going to say, I think he was trying to find the right angle on the Thresh and was a little bit low on the mechanics, but it was the stun from Leona that meant that he couldn't just immediately get it to deny the flash. There's the flash on the auto attack. Never going to work for you, mate. And then, because of the cleanse, is able to get just out to the edge of the tower, make sure that Patrik doesn't trade.
It feels so bad for Labrov, too, because he's got the Q prepped. He's just a little bit slow on the reaction speed. If he gets the Q immediately into the E, I don't even think the cleanse saves Patrik in that exchange. But because he's maybe a 1/10 of a second off, Patrik gets out, styles on him, and now has 2 kills. This lane is basically unplayable till Ezreal gets a fully stacked tier.
I mean, look at that. It is BF Sword Cole on the first back at level 5, 6 minutes in the game. That lane phase is done.
And this is brutal because this lane, the Thresh Aphelios, has so much agency in the game. The Thresh hooks, the reliable auto attack based setup for CC for Patrik means Torre always has an easy follow-up, and now for Caedrel, it's just a giant gank me again sign put on the bottom lane because Calm doesn't have flash, LeBlanc doesn't have flash, they don't have any sums, and they don't have any items either. This is easy for Caedrel right now.
Yeah, and also the fact that Torre still has flash himself, as I was a little bit close, means that they can continue to play hyper-aggressive. You know, they don't have to hold the wave back and then just try to deny farm. If they really want to, they can threaten dives, especially with LeBlanc constantly cheating down and Caedrel hanging around here, because you can play with Flash Lantern.
Torre just stepping very far forward. Labrov knowing that he has to wander up here. The Hex Flash forward. Labrov. Pullback is there. Skeanz now going in. Caedrel just going to wait for the shield to go away, trying to dunk down, but Skeanz is still going to be able to find his kill. He's walking forward. He's autoing. Torre going to maybe fish for a hook, but doesn't have the cooldown, which means Skeanz manages to get one back, and now Comp's on the chase. The flay back, though, from Torre is flawless. They cannot push too much further into Patrik. He still has the BF sword.
Execution errors and Excel. Name a more iconic duo.
Execution errors in any other team in the LEC?
Consistency, yes, that word. Oh no, is Skeanz gonna find the Q over the wall? No, okay, he's in river. Whew, sorry.
Here.
Okay, clearly an issue with the fact that skill shots didn't hit. A bit of a miscommunication, bit of misexecution, and throwing a bit of the really strong lead that Excel had on the bot lane. And this is kind of why Excel and Vitality will find themselves just kind of trying to scrape into playoffs rather than, you know, already being a strong contender.
And it's a difficult split, most certainly, at the LEC, because sadly, when we talk about anyone, I think it's the story of scraping into playoffs, because everyone is trying to scrape into playoffs if your name is not Mad Lions and Rogue. Milica scraping his way into this top lane, potentially with a ton of damage, but that minion,
hero minion,
not quite enough of a body block, as Cabochard's just going to pull him back into the meat grinder. Pajama Urgot finding a kill. You'll love to see it.
Wasn't a hero minion, it wasn't enough.
The tiny AoE was enough to get past that one. Thank you, Rito.
We talked about how Special was theoretically looking for the roam, but it's Milica that kind of gets it off first right there on this Zoe, then sets up nice with Cabochard. We already talked about in Champ Select that Cabochard is probably a strong answer to shut down Kryze, who has been kind of one of the saving graces of Excel in terms of trying to pull them over the line here. So that gank, certainly not going to help things, but eventually Camille will do Camille things no matter what. Just putting her slightly behind as here's the lane swap for tempo on Rift Herald.
And I like to see it, see who they want to funnel that gold into. If either team can actually pull ahead on this one, as it's pretty evenly matched for now. Vitality are a little bit behind the play, but they have wave advantage in the sense that Aphelios is just now going to be able to even out the waves on top side. So see who can balance this one. Stacked wave for Excel if they shove this in. Should have first priority access.
I think they're going to try to catch. You can see Caedrel sitting in the river brush here, trying to catch Ezreal and Leona walking up through river. But you can see Vitality taking the long and safe route around.
Nope.
Now with the wave priority and control that you were just talking about, Drakos, Excel are going to start the Herald, but I think that this is a bit of a trap. We'll see if Vitality feel confident stacking the wave gold to try to walk up to this Herald, but Herald takes a long time. I feel like you can clear the wave and still walk up to it.
And the overkill shield coming in here just even slightly for Patrik mitigating one of those two hits, and they are going to grab this one. Patrik will pick it up as well, which means that they can funnel even more gold onto the Aphelios. Feels like he got the first two kills, and now Excel have a clear way to victory.
It's not been Torre's day on the hooks.
He's fishing, hoping to catch Leona stepping forward there. I feel like blind Thresh hook is not easy. In the midst of a chaotic team fight, it's like such a free skill shot because no one can just watch you the entire time, but hard to just find the opportunity. Oh, going back though, he's going to land the kick. Special now going to be in trouble. Milica's going to try to finish this one off, finds the right target. The Lantern taking him out, but it's not nearly enough. Milica now zoom in out of that one.
Skeanz trying to force the play. Like you said, didn't necessarily have the damage target selection. Caedrel, right place, right time. That said, Milica and Skeanz should have known that Caedrel was in that topside river because they just contested the Herald. So you knew that the enemy jungler was going to be there for a counter gank. I think they were expecting either just to immediately burst Special.
And we talked about pressure. Pressure to find a play. Pressure from Milica to get out of this one. Caedrel's going to flash back, though. No getting away from the Hextech ultimatum, but gets sleepy under the tower. Kryze now in trouble. Milica actually finds a way out of this one. Caedrel now going to be in trouble. Does manage to get a fat shield down. Milica will not be able to walk forward, but there is a flash on the ground as well as a challenging smite here, so he could look for a re-engage, but won't opt to do so.
A little bit better time there as we take another look at this one. Let's see kind of where the burst damage went sideways. So Caedrel here's first.
Ooh, that's where it went sideways and upside down. Thank you, observers. All right, the Ignite comes in as well.
I feel like it's a movie now. The replays come through and I'm like, I'm going to try to figure out where the mechanics happen, and then it's just upside down, right side out.
Oh, man. The angle was too cinematic, I think.
When both casters, ooh!
Ooh, forgot what we were going to say. Looked cool. Match of the week, of course, coming up. Rogue versus G2, Game 5. See if G2 can get out of their little slump. And important to note that in this time where mid lane has been the center of our attention, Excel have now set up the Mountain Drake and are going to cake it. But in the top lane 1v1 matchup, Cabochard now has Black Cleaver along with the boots, which is a huge deal for Urgot because it essentially means you just can't walk away from him anymore when he does activate his W.
Yeah. And also the fact that, you know, he's running into the inspiration tree. So those special boots, special shoes.
Extra movement speed. Kryze has to be careful here. I can't say I know enough of the intimate details of this matchup, but I do know that Black Cleaver very early on for an Urgot is incredibly obnoxious to deal with.
I kind of feel like because of Cabochard's items and Camille's kit, that no one should really die up there unless anyone else gets involved in it, because while Cabochard is really strong, so I don't think Kryze can bully him at this point in the game, Kryze should also just be able to walk away. Just walk that one out.
You gotta love those strategies anytime you see a Juggernaut. The mid lane, Milica's been struggling a little bit here in damage, but does manage to connect there. Stun gonna come in as well. He can't even push a single button. Skeanz gonna finish that one off, and this time Vitality find the clean execution on the mid lane play.
A really nice chained CC to make sure that they can pop special like a balloon. That said, you don't get anything from it. You know what I mean? Like, Excel have been ahead of Vitality on all these plays for the objectives. They took the initial Drake, they swapped to the Herald, they then swapped back down for the Drake. It's just been boom, boom, boom. Sorry, I was like, come up with something more
bang, boom,
bing,
boom,
bang,
boom, boom. Venga Boys, other option. It's not clear where we wanted to go.
This is the strength of Excel. They're a slower team. Now, they are playing much more proactively. You think about some of those mid lane ganks with the Camille, so I like to see that. That's been a development of this iteration of Excel. But otherwise, if you kind of leave them to their own devices, they're like a really baby rogue. Really, really baby. That type of team. So they're slow to set up, and against faster-paced teams like Misfits, the team that they lost to, can give them hard times.
Yeah, we'll see if they can give Cabochard a hard time here, though. Now we've got the Herald coming in, of course, the second Herald, so you will not be getting plates. Was that first Herald? That was first Herald, but they're using it late, so they're not going to get any plates off of this one. They still will be able to break this top lane tower, free up a bit more space. Farm here for whoever wants to take up position in this lane. In the meantime, Vitality are chilling. Doing fine individually. The gold's just about dead even, but Excel continue to usher this Herald in on the top side and could look to break a second tower.
I mean, Vitality are laning, but Excel are playing this map actually really fast. Like, think of how many times they've made lane lane swaps where they're putting the Herald, the fact that they're pressuring all these towers, and Vitality are so late to all of this.
I'm sure they're now stepping forward, but just to clear the way, the tower's still going to go down. And what did Vitality do in the meantime?
They've got CS leads on all of their carries.
That's good.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they've just kind of been chilling in the lane phase, picked up a couple of kills, particularly in that mid lane. But where Vitality are just playing around these minions, Excel are playing around the towers.
Very true. And I worry about comp here on the bottom side up against the Camille. So the next time the Hextech ultimatum is going to come up, he will certainly be vulnerable. Skeanz moving to the bottom side. Maybe Vitality finally ready to make a play of their own.
Observers, can you show me what Urgot's doing with that wave? Thank you, observers. It's pushing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to freeze.
With Urgot?
He's got the big old shotgun leg. You're kind of inevitably going to chunk for at least one angle.
Thank you, observers. Obviously, I was curious what Cabo was going to try to do. Maybe if they put Zoe or Ezreal into one of those lanes to get a long freeze and try to slow the game down from here, but just hard pushing it, which means that Excel are just going to pick up what Vitality have given back to them.
And I do want to see exactly what Vitality can do with some of their individual advantages. Obviously, Lee Sin feeling quite strong right now. You've got a Zoe 102 with the Ludens, Cabochard as well with the Black Cleaver. In theory, they can do a lot of damage here in a fight, but since they haven't broken mid lane tower yet, the avenues of attack for Zoe are actually quite limited at this point in the game.
The next big opportunity for Vitality of all of those items that you're talking about, Drakos, will be around that Drake, which is going to be spawning in 1 minute. So I expect kind of all of the teams to just concentrate around the mid lane, play a little LCS ARAM before this Drake spawns, and then maybe if you're a Vitality fan, you want the pick, or I guess we're going early and putting all our cooldowns.
Comes out, Patrik taking a little bit of damage here, but not too much. They managed to pick off Tori, but Skeanz now going back. He's going to dash out to safety, special now on the chase. Skeanz giving his life at this one, but he doesn't quite finish the kill. Oh, Patrik melee range basically finishes off the Lee Sin before the Q can complete, and that's a tragedy.
Mel Skeanz' foot as he killed the Lee Sin. It was like that close to his face.
Oh no. Rob, Caedrel getting a bit too aggressive here. We'll get the stopwatch cooldown, but he's going to give his life. And now Vitality are set up to take this third Drake. This is huge. It'll deny XL at least a little bit of time before the soul comes in.
And it's hilarious because Vitality literally threw all of their valuable cooldowns away before the actual Drake fight. Now, it will work out for them because the Drake is spawning. They have first access, and XL are like, it's fine, you take it. We'll trade you for Herald. Like, let's handshake on it. But you know, that only really works against a team like XL. XL, again, a very slow team to set up. So if you're decisive, if you're fast, if you get in their face, you can punish them. Because imagine, if Vitality threw out all of those cooldowns and didn't find the picks there, they'd be screwed for this Drake fight, and it would be third Drake. And that's why Vitality and XL are where they are on the standings.
And you have to remember, no matter how chaotic it looks, at the end of the day, someone needs to find the win here to make it to playoffs. And feels like it starts off pretty well. Skeanz is ready here with the setup, connects the kick where he needs to. Torre, though, taking so much damage, yet still, Patrick's alive. The flash out, and Skeanz. This is just one sad Lee Sin.
I mean, he almost had his shadow montage moment. And like I said, the flip right there.
Okay, but we talked about confidence, and I like that he's not playing like a man who's scared. Despite how chaotic and hectic this game is, he's still going for the play. Yes, he's like 1 for 2. All right, he had one good play, he's had 2 quite sloppy plays, but if he keeps making plays like that, one of them could eventually win him the game.
I mean, you can always say that you'd rather have the flash burned on the Aphelios than you would on the Lee Sin. I think in this composition, though, it's a little bit harder just because, A, there's no dive access, so there's not a ton of threat that Aphelios is under where he'd have to use his flash because it's against a Zoe and an Ezreal, and then he also has access to the Thresh, so, like, obviously, always a good thing to not have a flash on a hyper carry ADC. Bad news is, you know, who can really punish that outside of the Labrov? The Labrov.
The Labrov.
He is no longer Labrov, he is the Labrov.
Yeah, and it feels like a battle of getting rid of the Thresh Flay, especially from Torre, which is something that Leona can do quite easily, or Lee Sin can do it to get the Leona in there. But as long as Torre is patient on that cooldown, he can take his time to line that one up. He just has to sit right next to Patrik. It's going to be pretty easy to peel. Everyone who wants to go in on this team is incredibly telegraphed.
Yep, observers there showing the actual freeze that's happening from Camille there, as Kryze is just taking his time, letting the minion wave sit there, while Special is using his mobility to fish for deep vision. See if he's able to actually walk out of this one, though, because that is a very deep flank.
I like how aggressive Comp's getting. Labrov stepping forward to body block the chains, and Special is going to get stunned up and caught out here. The CC follow-up is clean coming in from them, and Special straying way too far on the top side of the map. The good news is the Herald's been thrown down mid lane. Maybe Cell can break open mid lane tower with this one, but the rest of Vitality is on the way.
Yeah, the observers are actually showcasing that while Special did just int it on the top side of the map, it's actually set up XL for 2 lanes. Not just the mid lane with the Herald charge, but then also using their numbers advantage as Kryze turned it back around, stacked this wave, hard pushed it, and Patrik. They were pulling Patrik and Torre down to threaten a dive, or at least try to get more chip damage on this tower, and I'm unsure what happened in the river, but they decided against it.
In the meantime, Comp's just taking down this tower. We'll get solo gold in that area, as of course a 2-item spike for Ezreal. It's not a Trinity Force, but he is still very strong relative to the 1-item Aphelios at this point in the game.
I feel like the decisiveness from XL was what's missing there, and it allowed Vitality to get a lot back, like you were just talking about with Comp there on the top side of the map. You know, if they're able to potentially dive an Urgot, maybe the conversation was, can we look for this dive? No, I don't want to look for it.
Yeah, okay, so to be fair, I don't think you can with at least the 2 champions who were there between the Sett and the Camille.
Yeah, but it should have also been Thresh and Aphelios.
Oh, it absolutely should have been. But sadly for them, it just wasn't. And maybe they can find a little bit quicker rotations here, but at the end of the day, I think we look at Excel's lineup, and while yes, we can criticize them for not, upping the pace of the game, pressing advantages where they do have them. They are 2 Drakes to 1. They can get closer and closer to that soul, and they do have Mr. 200 years himself. So there is always a get-out-of-jail-free card if you take the game late enough, but definitely does not get easier if you keep missing out on these opportunities.
And I feel like it's now going to be about kind of the playmaking potential of Vitality, particularly on Milica and Skeanz. What are these guys able to do? Can they continue to find a lot of these picks? Labrov's name should also be mentioned in that category. Or will XL just get to play their slower, scaling, map-oriented gameplay?
Well, Caedrel looks like he's ready to make a play of his own in the mid lane, maybe stop Vitality before they can set up any of those plays. Patrik is fearlessly stepping forward, courtesy of the Lantern here, and decent damage going down on the Comp, but now he's working towards a death dance of his own, so he will be even more difficult to take down. Bubble will connect, only going in on a Caedrel though. Special now leaping forward onto Milica. Milica's gonna be in trouble, but he gets the sidestep on the cleanse. Nimbus Cloak looking like a really healthy balanced rune there in that play. No way to land that skill shot. Well done from Milica.
Yeah, everyone should be running Nimbus Cloak. I just think it's OP. Talk to any pro player, they say the same thing. There's a hook. And
talk to any Zoe player, and yeah, they're definitely even doubly sure. The sheer amount of summoner spells you get there. And Patrik,
I mean, the thing is he's throwing a lot in there, but it's not doing any damage, Drakos.
but it looked real sick, you know? Lined him up, hit him with the flamethrower, threw some shurikens out. Yes, they took no damage at all, Frosk. Some would even say they took negative damage, but man, did he spin in circles and did it look cool. And for Torre, he doesn't get to look as cool. He has to run for the hills here.
No Ezreal ultimate there. Special also hiding in Fog of War, trying to play around this one. There's no TP, so I actually think that Excel are just going to give this one up. They burned the Aphelios ultimate into the mid lane. Torre got massively chunked out, and that, for all the map and objective control that Excel have had, they have fumbled twice in the setup for these Drakes.
Yeah, so Vitality more than happy to have the freebie here. Feeling quite comfortable as we move into mid-game. It was looking a bit dicey there when Excel were pulling ahead not only in gold, but in just about every objective on the map. And with the mid lane tower at 100, 200 health here, very much Vitality are set up to take complete control here. If they break that mid lane tower, you've suddenly got a Zoe who can just prey on the squishier members of Excel through the Fog of War.
And Zoe exceptionally punishing on Excel because they keep walking randomly into Fog of War and getting caught. It was around that mid lane, kind of on top of it where the honey fruit plant was. There was constantly wards there that they were catching Excel members on as they were walking back and forth to their tower. But you saw the pings come out from Vitality. They all pinged, assist ping on the Drake. You can see the on the way pings. Vitality are now moving up into this topside river and just clearing out all the vision and trying to create this as their arena. This is where they want to catch Excel.
And I want to go back to something that you talked about in draft, Froskurinn, which is kind of the effective range of the Excel composition. Because what we're seeing here is that Excel's initiation has not been super reliable for the team. Yes, you have a Hook. Yes, you have a Sett. Yes, you have a Camille, but none of these are like tanks. Even Labrov, who's not the most innately tanky champion, builds Gargoyle Stoneplate. He can just face check into the enemy team. Although speaking of face checking, Tom, he's gonna be fine here. But Excel really don't have long range, non-committal engage. They're either going in on you or they're chilling.
Which is why it feels like so many times we're saying like, oh, Patrik playing hyper aggressive there with the Lantern, because that's what needs to happen. Otherwise, this Aphelios isn't going to be able to touch anyone. Patrik has to play so bravely and like on a knife's edge, which is why the cleanse and the flash are really important. Those summoner spells are going to be so crucial as this game goes on, because otherwise he's just going to get zoned away from a fight.
Oh, but if they catch Cabochard napping, perhaps they can get something done. Sadly, it doesn't look like they've caught Cabochard. They will get his flash. Good exchange overall. Big damage actually coming in there. The second half of the precision protocol from the Camille, taking a big chunk out of Urgot, but with Death's Dance there, it's only going to get harder to take down Cabo.
I don't know, it felt like for the first 3 seconds that Urgot was like, something is tickling me.
We had to wait for second Camille Q and the W from Sett before we really got anything threatening. Although now potentially the re-engages. The Skeanz Labrov duo, we wanted to see how the team would communicate, and what hasn't been the cleanest team play in this game, clearly Skeanz and Labrov have figured out the buddy system. It's comps on Ezreal, he's fine, leave him alone. We're just gonna hold hands, we're gonna run across the map, and we're gonna find people to kill, which I love to see.
I think comp on that Ezreal just got the 2-for-1 special on delaying both Aphelios and Thresh's back timers. It's the little things.
It is the little.
I'm playing mini games this game.
Sometimes that's what you have to do, though.
We've stalled out into just, this is going to be Drake fights on Baron fights on Drake fights.
Yeah.
Which what I think should actually be done is they should use Kryze and Special, and they should play the Peter Pan duo, the Shadow. You have, yeah, here you go, some Splinter Cell action. Got the... We
gotta stop using Splinter Cell.
Yeah, apparently it's too old.
I haven't made a Splinter Cell game in so long.
Basically, I want LeBlanc to shadow underneath this Camille and to continuously punish a side lane, while the rest of Excel to sit in the mid lane to dissuade Vitality from doing a potential Baron.
I like it. Ooh, Patrik fishing for the engage there.
Look, here comes Skeanz, really deep.
Oh, Patrik caught out now, but he will be able to grab the Lantern. Is forced to use the cleanse, however.
Remember how important those cooldowns are, so you want to burn that. Now they're just looking for the rinse and the repeat, and Vitality really threatening it. Skeanz was on a great flank right there, while meanwhile Milica has all of this time with this top tower. Vitality definitely still in this one. He's actually playing them in my opinion, the map better in this mid game than Excel are.
Oh, Cabochard locked up though. He's gonna try to pop him back. Good damage coming in from Cabo. They're not killing him nearly fast enough. He's zooming away, but still, there it is. Camille now with 2 items means they've got enough there. Milica though, getting frisky, trying to move forward onto Kryze. Will not connect, and Vitality want to find some kills here and turn this one around because right now Excel have purely come out on top, but Kryze zooming out to safety. Sadly, not enough here as Comp goes on a killing.
So why I want it to be LeBlanc and Camille is because then you'll have mixed damage. You'll have the AP carry and the AD carry versus trying to run the Sett and the Camille into the Urgot. Now that said, one of the advantages that Sett has when you're working with Camille is his potential to dive there because he has the shield versus LeBlanc just coming in and trying to blow you up because this guy doesn't have any MR yet. So that's kind of like my mentality of why I'm saying LeBlanc Camille rather than Sett Camille, but you can see that Excel are trying to solve the Rubik's Cube of what they want to do with this side lane because the map is actually getting pulled away from them Vitality. Vitality are finding a lot of good exchanges, and now they're like, okay, I guess play around Kryze.
Yeah, I think the good news is with Sett and Camille, you have 2 sources of, let's say, pretty reliable true damage in the sense that Urgot isn't the most mobile champion. It's pretty easy to connect there on the Haymaker from Sett, but I agree. Split damage profile, a nice thing to have, and certainly as Cabochard goes towards more armor here, it looks like Righteous Glory to be item number 3. Labrov, though, going to be in trouble here. Drakos Stoneblade going to get procced. He's nice and early, gets pulled back in the rest of the team. Labrov, though, still on the front line. Aftershock there, very tanky Leona, but Excel will find the pick.
Right in time for the Drake, and finally it feels like Excel are making the proactive play before the big objective is here comes Skeanz, control ward, find special.
Follow up here, though. Caedrel is there. Of course, with the base breaker, it's pretty easy to interrupt anything Lee Sin wants to do. Essentially a second play for this team. Pure advantage for Excel right now. They could get 3rd Drake. We've already talked about this is a game that's going to be about Drakes and Barons.
Kryze to be really aggressive here and just go in.
Kryze leaping forward, but he's opted to go in on the Cabochard. Definitely not the ideal target. Card's getting caught out. They're going to dump him back, but they just pull Cabo in for a big old clear. And he doesn't quite manage to finish off Torre. But the rest of Vitality could chase in if they want to. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to push forward, but a bit of a mess here around the pit.
Okay, the idea was correct. They needed to pull the trigger, have the hard engage. All they had left was the Camille ultimate. The issue was the target selection and Cabochard just outplaying that one, which now puts Vitality on even footing to try to get their 3rd Ocean Drake, and that's huge.
Of course, the McHale's is still up and available. Torre can save Patrik, but that also means that he can't save himself if they do get caught out. Sleeping Trouble Bubble on the ground here. They're trying to buy space. Special maybe wants to steal this one away.
But Caedrel just left.
But he's leaping into a warded bush. Okay, so they get it. Special now has to find a way out of this pit. Second distortion, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Oh no. Waiting for it. Wants to make sure that he gets the kick at melee range, but Special still. Fancy footwork, the kick back. Oh, the clone! Are you kidding me? Caedrel coming in. Oh, Special. Wow.
If I'm Skeanz, I ult F4.
Instantly pissed. Oh my god. Riot, please.
I'm so tilted.
What? The clone spawns perfectly? All right, we gotta. What are we looking at here?
There's a lot. Kryze picks the wrong target. I like the thought. The thought was good. He's like, I'm gonna go in right now. I know, the giant crab man that's ridiculously tanky and can kill me. Cabochard managing to kill Kryze, almost kills Torre. It almost gives him enough to get some health back on the back end of it and continue the fight here. It's disgusting. And at this point, Excel are like, well, we had a numbers advantage. We no longer have one. I know what we'll do. Caedrel will back, Special will stay, and Skeanz will get tilted off the face. Ah, that was the big brain play.
Just tilt him! Oh! And that's why these teams are fighting for a spot in the LEC playoffs. Oh, bless. It's been a very sloppy game. And sadly for Excel, I feel like every time they start a play, Vitality get a dragon. I don't know why that's working out the way that it is, but Vitality have 3 dragons now. So if Excel start one more play when there's a dragon up, Vitality's going to get Ocean Soul. Definitely not the thing you want to give up to an Ezreal Zoe composition.
The first 15 minutes of the game, we're like, every time there's a fight, Excel gets a tower. Back half 15. Every time the fight happens, Vitality get a dragon. Soul more powerful than towers.
We're just seeing what people are willing to trade here. We're just establishing a League of Legends economy. How much is a dragon worth to you, really?
It's equivalent exchange.
I love it.
Okay. So I could try to predict what's going to happen, but I'm going to be really honest to you guys. I don't think the teams are entirely sure what they think is going to happen right now, so we're just going to buckle in. We're just going to put all of your limbs inside because we're going to go for a ride. This game is going to come down to the wire.
Okay. then let's take a look at the people who have the power to define the game. It's most certainly Milica, who has the death cap finished, as well as a double flat pen itemization here. He can one-shot a lot of the squishier members on the enemy team. On the opposite side, it is Patrik, almost 4 items on the Aphelios. That's going to be a big boy.
And I want to talk about his itemization, obviously going for the Death Stance, which we completed as his 4th item, and the Bloodthirster. He's against poke composition. So from Patrik's perspective, that makes perfect sense. He's like, I take a Sleep Trouble Bubble, and if I don't have copious amounts of lifesteal, as well as the shield from the Bloodthirster, to hopefully make sure that I don't get absolutely popped like a balloon, and the resistances from the Death Stance, hopefully this itemization allows him to deal with this composition.
And I hope we get to take a look at him when he has Severum, which has its own built-in overheal passive, Bloodthirster, which has an overheal passive, and actual overheal, which I believe he's taken in runes. So that could be a fat shield, TLDR. That could be a very large, potentially more than 1,000.
A 200 years moment where you think he's dead and he just sits in the fight forever?
Yeah. We talked about this yesterday. It's a lot of like kids who used to play WoW are getting their skills checked now. Do you layer your CC? Bad. Can you pass a DPS check on the raid boss? That's the question. Patrik's the raid boss, no doubt. You just got to finish him off.
But also, on the Vitality side, they have showcased that they have the necessary tools and coordination that they can chain CC and just pop people. It's usually been special, but Patrik's time surely will come. At least if you're a Vitality fan, that's what you're hoping for.
We have to remember, too, that if Vitality get over-aggressive, as you said, Excel's comp doesn't run at you super good outside of the Camille and kind of the pressure the LeBlanc can put down, maybe Caedrel on a flank, but limited options. But if you run at them, you're most certainly setting yourself up for failure, as there are a lot of tools to stop you from doing what you want to do.
I kind of feel like Excel really need to find the hard engage, because over an extended fight, yeah, Aphelios is really strong, but he shouldn't have very many tools to step forward and dish out the damage. So I personally feel like Vitality's composition should be able to deal with what Excel have put together if the hard engage doesn't happen, which they failed multiple times, so.
But I do like how much of the gold from Excel's side has been funneled into Patrik.
Oh, Caedrel!
Hook. Caedrel now finding the flying Skeanz, though. Goes golden. They haven't quite gotten the fight that they want. They're trading TPs now. Labrov going to go in, but it's special on the backside. He can't finish off Comp. Comp can heal right back up. He's got the Blade of the Rune King. He doesn't really have any room to maneuver here. Milica continues to step forward. Shuriken stack for Patrik, but no one's taking the bait on that one. It does mean that Excel have priority access to the Drake here. They can deny the soul. Vitality don't really have a time to set up, but Vitality say, all right, we'll take the trade. We'll set it up. Are you ready to contest this at a Baron? They're ready to take another fight, but the vision is here for Excel. They will know that this is the trade that is happening, but a TP committed as well means that Vitality are going all in on this one.
Yeah, and so what Excel are doing is they're putting Camille onto the Drake to make sure that the soul can't go over, and then they're sending the rest of their squad to contest Vitality here. How bold are you, Vitality? Do you stick to the Baron or do you turn?
Patrik, oh, the flash forward from Cabochard. Patrik now getting out. Has a bit more space in the box. Skeanz trying to find a way in. Skeanz not quite able to get this one. And Patrik definitely having his 200 years moment. Cabochard going to be in trouble. One more auto, not quite enough. Is able to get the shield up. And Caedrel in the back of the pit. Caedrel gonna get the Baron. Takes the Drake as well. Excel getting everything they could possibly ask for.
And when it all came down to it, Excel were just more consistent on a lot of these calls. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect game. Both teams have made a ton of mistakes. You could see that with Vitality having 3 Drakes. But when push came to shove, it was Excel that made the better call there to now put themselves in the winning position for this game.
And I think very aggressive call from Vitality, but definitely not the right call in that exchange, because Drake is not a difficult objective to solo for a Camille.
I think what they should have done is turned away from the Baron, and that's something that comes with kind of the novice status of this squad. This Vitality squad, still really young, haven't played together outside of Cabochard for a long time. And I think that's just one of those moments where in this decision, should we have stuck to the Baron, should we have turned off? And I think they should have turned off and taken the 4v5 with Camille still on the Drake.
Additionally, potentially just said, okay, we lost this exchange, we'll give up the Drake. It's not the end of the world, we don't need to risk anything. But instead, they take the risk, they take the gamble, and it turns against them. And while this is a time, the stakes are high. Certainly, if you feel like you have to gamble, I'm not going to fault you for taking it. The stakes are really high, and sometimes it just feels like the safe play is better.
Unfortunately, it feels like they just gift-wrapped
a win for Excel in what was otherwise a very contentious game. And while people will be like, oh, what Aphelios, he's got 4.5 items, there was no way they could have won. Aphelios wasn't really set up to have the greatest game, despite the McHales, despite all the tools they have to keep him safe.
I mean, Patrik is still making it work, though.
No. Now Patrik is just going to start killing people, because Milica, tick, burn, finishing him off. Dang. Excellently played.
I was gonna say, Patrik is kind of defying what we talked about earlier, which is, sometimes the player skill gap is just enough that it doesn't really matter how the compositions work together. It doesn't matter what you put together. Sometimes you are just the player or the better player on the better day, and that's what Patrik has been with this Aphelios pick.
Absolutely has been. Vitality, frankly, they're just out of tools to really combat this one. Comp can obviously generate a little saves. Kryze gets over aggressive here, will be bad news, but the suplex back down. Sett couldn't pull through the kickback as well. Eyes on Comp. How much damage can he do? But Patrik says, I'm just going to end this game. Excel going to take the 2-0 week nice and easy.
And Excel really finally showing the dominance that I think that they've been waiting for. Everyone's talking about the playoff race. It's never Excel that comes out of people's names, and now you must remember the name. Excel are in it. They have the head-to-head over Vitality and SK. You heard it from Ender and Vedius at the top of the day that they think Excel will be the 6th place team into our playoffs, and with a 2-0 week, Excel agreed.
And I gotta say, when it mattered most, Excel showed up. You can choose, though, your Kia player of the game at LEC on Twitter, Caedrel, Patrik, or Torre. Tough one.
I wonder. I don't.
Or Caedrel for sneaking that pit. Really, it's ultimately up to you. But I think that overall, what we've seen is marked improvement from Excel. When it mattered most, they showed up. But still, messy games. All these teams really want to clean it up if they want a solid performance in best of 5s as we get closer to playoffs. But when we return, we're going to see if Schalke 04 can pull off another upset, this time against Misfits Gaming.
Charged up. Hello, everybody. Let the game begin.
And welcome back to the LEC Excel. Got their 2-0 week here in week 6, and Special is with me to talk about the game. Hi!
Hi.
2-0 week for you. I guess this is what you were looking for this week, right?
I mean, yeah, it's obviously what we're looking for, right? But it's like what was needed as well to make playoffs. So I'm super happy with taking the victory today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a discussion I had with Duke before the game, the fact that you too needed this win especially, so I'm glad you managed to keep it. But there's been a lot of hiccups here and there during the game, and despite the good start you had, I feel like you could have avoided some mistakes. Do you agree? And which one can you point out here?
Yes, I think the biggest mistakes we made was, first of all, not including me into the bot play when we're already ahead, and I was having a lot of push, so it was pretty... Like, it was a mistake to not include me, and the second one was me being a bit too eager in mid lane as well. I really wanted to force and get the priority, but we were not really on the same page, so I got caught, and they punished us well there.
Tell me about knowing when to restrain yourself, like when you want to go for a big play, but you're like, okay, maybe we don't have the initiative on this one, and maybe I should avoid doing it. Like, how do you learn when to and when not to go for it?
I mean, a lot of it is just like testing your limits, right?
Yeah.
Like, you... been in that before, and if you have the numbers, your teammates are close, and you feel strong and confident in yourself, then you can always go for it. But it's just like who has more people, more like teammates near him, will usually win.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the game again, it feels like this is the Baron play that tipped the scale into your direction. But how did you unlock this positive situation for this one? Because it feels like after the Baron, Vitality could not come back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, first of all, we have Aphelios, right? Like, there's some real 200-year stuff going on. When he has 4 or 5 items, he just completely takes over the game, especially if it's Patrik. So once we got the position on the Dragon, we knew they wouldn't be able to really face check us, because me and Camille were flanking. Mm-hmm. And then they got really chunked, and we felt like, well, they could go for Baron, but we thought like no way they can do it in time. And then once we have like 1-3-1 comp with Baron, it's really easy to execute. You have no wave clear and no engage, and then Patrik makes a good play, and then the game just ends.
Yeah, huge risks taken from the Vitality side here. And you were mentioning the 200 years plays from Patrik, and he got player of the game here. So tell me about your ADC's performance here, from the bot lane play who unlocked the early game to winning the game in the end.
I mean, I think they played exceptionally well today. Like, you can see it, he's in his comfort zone playing the Aphelios, and I'm just really happy I have him in my team, and he's not on the other side, because he's an incredible player, and you can always rely on him, like, performing super good.
And that's what we saw today with Excel. Now, Special, thank you very much for the interview, and good luck in the remaining weeks of the summer splits. And now we're going to take a break, and we'll come back in a few minutes with Misfit versus Schalke 04. Stay tuned.